Hi there, welcome back. As many of you know from my previous series or previous videos on either this channel or another, I have done a lot of tutorials about electronics and especially focusing on the Arduino. And I'm getting a lot of questions both on Facebook and on YouTube about these items or how to build them again. Because my videos always had this, you needed to know some basic electronics before you could actually do this. Or you could just do exactly what I did and it should theoretically work. Yeah, excuse my English. So, I'm starting this new series and I'm going to go over discrete components in electronics and all the way up to advanced components. And it's just going to be short segments, short videos explaining a component or something really fast, not too long, just to let you know what is this, how should I use it, why should I use it. So, some of the components I have prepared right here. And I would like to show you some of the components we're going to work with. Power supply. This one is a USB. We're going to talk about many different, there's also batteries. We're going to talk about, it's hard to see, sorry about that. Capacitors, this is a small one. They also come in big ones. We're going to talk about things like diodes. This is a normal diode. We're going to talk about LEDs. These are becoming more and more relevant, and more important because LEDs are replacing all our lamps globally. So it's a very nice lamp and everybody seems to use them. In fact, the invention of the LED is only something like 10 years old, so it's kind of a revolution people just tend to ignore, but these are extremely important. We're also going to talk about buttons, how to use them, why to use them, and some of the problems that can be using buttons. Basic resistors, how, where, why, and how to identify them. And something like this guy here. Transistor. Old school. Well, it might be a transistor, it might be something else. That's something you have to learn. Never trust the appearance of discrete components. They might appear to something you have used before, but very often many components are put in the same package, and this is just a package. In fact, this is a temperature sensor, I believe. I'm not going to check because it's not important right now. But 3 legs package can be anything. Need to check before using. We're also going to talk about something like these. It can be a MOSFET, it can be a voltage regulator. We don't know until we check. It's very important again to check before using because many components added together in this nice box. In fact, this box only consists of capacitors like this one, resistors, diodes like this one. That's basically it. Sometimes there's also inductors included, but all of this is just a large network compressed into a very small size and put into this box. Then we have 3 legs doing something. We are going to look at both MOSFETs and voltage regulators because they are both very important. And I'm sure you can get a lot of other components that look exactly like this. But we're not going to focus on them. Going to work a bit with integrated circuits like this one as well. This is a 74HC595. It's a 8-bit chip. You could basically call it a memory. A single 8-bit memory if you wanted. It's very, very useful and it's used a lot in discrete components design. So even though this also contains a lot of discrete components, when I design something I might use this because it means I can control 8 things with only 3 wires. That's cool. There's also something called a multiplexer. We're not going to work with those. We're going to work with 7-segment displays like this one. We're going to work with LCD and this one, old school. We're also going to look at some of the modern ones. And we're going to test some buys on eBay like this one, where we get one of these packages. We're going to assemble it and see how it works, because you can see there's a lot of different small components in there, and it's actually quite fun sometimes to assemble these and learn they don't work, or maybe they will work. So it's a bit of a challenge. We're also going to look at all the different, not all, but many of the different types of boards there is. This one is called a LilyPad. It's basically just like the Arduino Uno. It's just in a different shape with a different processor. It does the same thing. You just don't have the same amount of I/O ports as you do on the Arduino. And there's a lot of different things. So, off with that. So, thank you for coming here and watching. I hope you will join us in our small journey about discrete components and electronics. And this is mostly for fun and hobbyists, so you're going to be able to do all the things I do right here at home if you have the components. Or you can get the components on eBay or something like that, your local hardware store. They are normally very cheap, and the most expensive part I'm going to use is a original Arduino Uno. If you don't want to buy a original, you can buy one of those other ones. They are often called something like Funduino, Genduino. Well, the Genduino is actually a original. That's the new name in Europe. But a lot of similar names. The hardware is open source, so you are allowed to build your own, etc. Get an Arduino of some sort. Actually, let me rephrase that. Get a Atmel AVR chip of any kind. They should work. It's a bit hard to understand what a Atmel AVR chip is, but we'll come to that in a later session. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video, which is going to be about power and how to power our devices before we start using our devices. Thanks for watching. See you next time.